Hey everybody, Dr. Nick here on Feel Good Friday. Today we're talking about the sciatic nerve and why getting to know the anatomy is going to keep you safe and prevent serious problems down the road. Today we also have a shameless plug for Licameli Custom Carpentry. It's my brother's business. You have to check him out on social media because he's putting out loads of great videos, great content. So the sciatic nerve is a thick nerve that runs out of your lower back, down into your butt and glute area, and then travels all the way down to your toes. Now, the way that it forms, their spinal cord starts up in the brain, and then it comes down in your neck, and at each level of the spine, it branches out. Okay, the spinal cord branches out into nerves at each level of the spine. So up in the neck, they branch out into your arms, and down in the lower back, they branch out down into your legs. So the sciatic nerve starts in your lower back, and then those nerves that come out of your lower back, kind of like a spider web, they all form and come together to form this thick nerve, literally about the thickness of this band here. Now as sciatic nerve travels down your leg, it branches off and goes down into your foot and your toes. So you can think of it as starting up in the lower back, traveling down your leg, behind your heel, and then up under the bottom of your foot to your toes. So on stand here, it would look something like this. Now, why is this important? Sciatica is a broad umbrella term for any time the sciatic nerve is inflamed. There are many different ways that the sciatic nerve can get inflamed. One could be a disc herniation. So discs are like jelly donuts. They're hard on the outside and soft on the inside, and they sit in between each vertebrae of your back. The spinal cord and your nerves run through very tight spaces through your spinal column. So if a disc kind of squirts out some of its jelly, it's going to press onto the nerve, onto the spinal cord, and that's going to cause irritation and symptoms to kind of shoot down your leg. I always like to explain nerves like garden hoses. If you step on one end of the hose, less water is going to come out the other end. Same thing with nerves. If you irritate a nerve upstream, you're going to feel it downstream. You could feel it into your butt, into the back of your leg, even down to your calf, or even into your foot. That's where that dull, achy pain, that numbness, that tightness, that tingling, that's where that comes from. Other than a disc issue, you could have a muscle spasm. So nerves kind of weave in and out of muscle tissue. So think of it like a piece of linguine traveling through a steak. If that steak is tight and in spasm, it's going to compress that nerve, and just like stepping on that garden hose, you're going to irritate that nerve and you're going to get those symptoms downstream. Another way your sciatic nerve can get irritated is weakness in the core. Your core muscles keep your spinal column stable. So think of it like a stack of toilet paper, and the muscle's job is to keep that nice and steady. If you have weakness in your core, that column is going to be unstable, and that instability can cause irritation of the neural tissue in the area. So knowing where the sciatic nerve runs is important, because there are certain movements that can put the sciatic nerve on stretch. And if it's irritated, or even if it's not irritated, anytime you put a big stretch on a nerve, you're setting yourself up for issues. So by looking at where the sciatic nerve runs, you can imagine that if you go to lift your leg up and then bring your foot up toward your body, you're tensioning that nerve, right? So you see this band is very tight here. Now if I were to bend the knee, now it gets put on slack. Or if I was to bring my leg up and point the foot, it's also put on slack. So the point of maximal tension for the sciatic nerve is when your leg is up straight and your toes are pointed up toward you. Now remember, the sciatic nerve starts in your spinal cord, and your spinal cord goes all the way up your spine into your head. So now, if you can imagine this band not stopping up in the low back, but going all the way up to the back of your head, now the position of maximal tension is going to be the leg up, straight, foot pointed backward, but also slouched down and your head bent. Right? So if you imagine this band going from the back of my head all the way down my back and all the way down my leg, if I slouch, bend my head, straighten my leg, and point my toes up toward my body, I'm tensioning the entire neural system. So it's important to keep this in mind because there are a lot of different exercises that put you in this position. For example, if you're doing a seated calf press with your legs straight, as you're letting the weight come down, your feet are getting pushed toward your body. So you're putting that system on stretch. If you slouch your posture and let your upper body and your head drift forward, you're going to further put those nerves on stretch. So it's important to remember with that exercise, you want to sit up tall, keep your head up straight, and then you do your exercise. But if you have any numbness or tingling, or you feel a burning pulling in the back of your leg, stop doing that exercise and you have to go see a healthcare practitioner. That's where we come in. By keeping your back up straight and your head up straight, you're lessening your risk of tensioning that system. You can also have a slight bend in your knees, because like I just showed before, bending the knees a little bit is going to take tension off of that nerve. Think of a hamstring stretch. You're putting yourself in that position. If you have that burning, pulling feeling during a hamstring stretch, go see a healthcare practitioner. But a way that you can put that nerve a little bit on slack is if you point your foot forward. Right? So if you bring your leg straight and bring it up, but you point your foot, you're putting that nerve a little bit on slack, so it may feel better. But again, you have to go see a healthcare practitioner. These are serious issues. Think about yoga. Yoga can be a bad thing. Yoga is not for everyone. I know it seems that yoga cures cancer and helps people lose weight and get flexible and cures low back pain, but yoga is not for everyone. If your sciatic nerve is inflamed, or even if it's not inflamed, the positions that yoga puts you in are going to tension that system, and if you're not ready to do that, you can cause some serious issues. Think of a downward dog position. You're tensioning that whole system. That's not a bad movement, but it is bad for someone who is not ready for that. So if you do yoga and you feel any kind of burning, tension, numbness, tingling that shoots down the back of your leg, that is not a good stretch. That's not good pain. Do not work through that. Go see a healthcare practitioner. That's where we come in. We can help modify those exercises so you don't have those symptoms. Those examples that I used, those aren't bad exercises. But if you're not ready for them and they're not appropriate for you, they can be bad. So they're not bad by nature, but if you have an inflamed sciatic nerve, those exercises can be very harmful. So there you have it, guys. Looking at the anatomy to help keep us safe and injury-free. But again, the main point here is if you do have any of those nerve symptoms that shoot down your leg, you have to go see a healthcare practitioner. Nerve pain is not good pain. I guess no pain is good pain, but the longer you have nerve pain, the more likely you are to have permanent nerve damage. I hope this helps. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.